The one thing costume departments crave above all else is control. Admit it, you like to rule your world. Control the fabric, control the silhouette, control the color. Yeah, control is something you ain't never gonna get, my darlings. If things are under control, then you just aren't moving fast enough, not pushing hard enough. To work in costume, you've got to be able to corner at 90, sail over speed bumps, and catch the fly balls. Sure, stuff gets in your way. That's what stuff does. Stuff like last-minute character additions, new scenes, stunts, directors with ideas, directors without ideas, directors without a clue. And because you can handle this calmly, coolly, and without a body count, the gods decided to add one more thing. Sucking mother piece of pandemic. Remember a year ago, March? I hardly have to remind you how we went from deranged busy to deranged laying on a couch. That lasted all the way until August. And then the business came back to life. Correction, it did. We didn't. Months of self-help seminars on lockdown did not prepare us for that first morning of going back to work. We needed a lot of self-talk to get back in the game. You are a boss-ass queen, and you've got to start acting like it. You're freaking special. Freaking special! Now, put on some flippin' deodorant, get out of those flippin' sweatpants, and slay this day. Show a costume or a dress code, and we adapt. Darwin can kiss our collective film and TV ass. It's like a fucking moon landing event. We leave the safety of the trailer. We approach the talent. We have encountered the aliens. One of them is trying to speak to me. They seem upset. They fear me. Do not panic. Do not panic. We've learned that if you're wearing a mask, no one can see you muttering to yourself. We've also learned that masks are not exactly soundproof. We've also learned that costumers have the exact same creed as postal workers. Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these costumers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. Because here's the truth. Actors will always need costumes. And why do we do all this? Oh, sure, you think we do all this for validation by our superiors, that we just want to lay our heads in the laps of the producers and have them rub our bellies. Wrong! Well, maybe a little bit right. But at the end of the day, we do this because this is our art. To serve the performance, the character, and the story. And now you're nominated for a CAFTCAD Award by your peers who know exactly what it took to get here. And pre-recorded from secret locations across Canada, it's the 2021 CAFTCAD Awards! Welcome to the 2021 CAFTCAD Awards. My name is Stephen McCarthy, and I'm here to guide you through this evening. This is more than a welcome. This is a welcome back, because this is the third CAFTCAD Awards, and 3 times is indeed the charm. Because we're digital this year, we can now be seen by many more people. People who are part of the film and television industry, but also those who would like to be, and those wonderful people who love all things costume. And what's not to love?
Indeed, Stephen. What's not to love about costume?
Please welcome my fabulous co-host, Amanda Brugel.
Oh, you were very funny in that opener, Stephen.
Oh, how kind of you to say. Thank you, Amanda.
Oh, and thank you again. Stephen, no, here, hold my champagne. You've had enough screen time already. Something is happening out there in the world of television and film. After many, many bruising months of lockdown, the public's been consuming content at unprecedented rates, spending a stunning 40% of their waking hours staring at screens, staring at your costume work on their screens. Some people call this peak TV, but what I call it is peak costume design time. It's safe to say there's never been so much varied and quality design work in the 70 years history of television. Don't make me get the spray bottle. Up, 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 up. Looking at actors dressed in costume in film and television is how clothing-conscious people have stayed sane in a world without red carpets and grand entrances. The truly miraculous work of costume designers and their teams has been transporting viewers off their couches and into other countries, other times, and other people's closets. So, let's take a look at that work and get these awards started. Okay, you can help. Thank you. Every year, we've started with this award, Excellence in Craft Costume Illustration.
It's become a bit of a tradition, yet there's a logic to it because the illustrations are often a design team's first look at the concept of the garments.
Not only is a good illustration phenomenal, it creates the phenomenon known as the halo effect. If you like illustration, you are gonna love everything that comes after it.
Wow.
And the nominees who have waved their digital stylus in the category of Excellence in Crafts Costume Illustration are Andy Poon for The Stand, Keith Lau for Altered Carbon, Kiara Brennan for Star Trek Discovery, Terry Pitts for The Twilight Zone, Keith Lau for Snowpiercer, and Keith Lau for Star Trek Discovery. And the winner is Terry Pitts for The Twilight Zone, Season 2.
I am overwhelmed with excitement and gratitude for this honor. Illustrating for costume designer Carol Case and working with our Twilight Zone costume crew has been an inspiring experience, bringing our characters to life through the power of the paper, pencil, and paintbrush. Thank you, CAFTCAD Awards and membership, for creating this platform recognizing our incredibly talented Canadian costumers. I am honored. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We are the co-chairs of the CAFTCAD Awards. All the way over there is Cynthia Amsden.
And all the way over there is Joanna Sear-Comlin.
We are wrapped in this ginormous, socially distanced length scarf, knitted by members of CAFTCAD to showcase the immense work and passion that both members and the awards team have put into bringing you tonight's event.
We also want to give special thanks to the crew who has gone above and beyond, and then even further than that, to make this filmed digital version of the awards possible. To our director and our Sherpa, Peter Mabruko, to our line producer, Rentje Funderbail, to our first, second, and third AD all wrapped up into one person, Lisa Funderbail. We give you our eternal thanks.
And this is the nature of our community. A year ago, CAFTCAD members were among the first to step up when the call came for fabric masks, surgical caps, and gowns to be made for the medical community and the public.
CAFTCAD adapted quickly and creatively to bring new online modules, seminars, and courses to costume professionals internationally, keeping the community growing and connected.
It's been a steep learning curve, but in working together, we've made it happen. Relearning how to do our jobs is character building, and I know I'm talking to an audience of characters.
These Canadian Costume Design and Arts Awards continue to celebrate the artistry and work of costume teams across Canada. We are hugely grateful to you all.
Oh, right. Thank you. When the CAFTCAD Awards began, including Best Design for Web Series seemed like a respectable decision. Some even thought it charitable.
Yeah, well, in the intervening years, this category has totally blown up because millennials and Gen Z have been flexing their muscles. Netflix and Amazon and Apple are fantastic, but there's something special about watching strangers pour their passions into projects that live on the internet for free.
Designing for a web series is a carrot-stick situation. You can absolutely have hundreds of thousands or millions of regular viewers, and they'll willingly crowdfund your project. That's the carrot. But when you start off, there's no time and no money, and that's the stick.
The courageous nominees for costume design and original web series are Tala Camilla Burkesh and team for Band Ladies, Christine Toy for Lockdown, Vanessa Magic and team for Queens, Casey Jane Tuninga and team for The D-Cut, Natalie Bronfman and team for Most Dangerous Game. And the winner is Vanessa Magic and team for Queens 103 Naomi.
Wow, thank you so much, CAFTCAD and the CAFTCAD Awards. What an honor it is to be nominated in the same category as these incredibly talented designers. I want to thank my Queen's Wardrobe team, Eob, Victoria, and Kristen. Thank you, Justin, for creating an incredible project where I was able to showcase my love of drag, color, and mystery. To the cast and crew who brought their joy to set every day, thank you to Jeremy and to Brixton. This is dedicated to people who long for stories like this. An army of lovers can never be defeated. Thank you.
Academia is a sci-fi short set in the near future where a teen attends a virtual reality school.
We wanted to reflect the sterile world that we are set in by keeping the color palette saturated and lifeless. We played with oversized silhouettes, asymmetry, and we chose a specific hem length to create a futuristic trend.
It's a comedy drama that is set in an unknown time and an unknown place, somewhere in the vein of World War II. Firstly, I did some research about militias for hire, and I specifically was really attracted to French Foreign Legion style militias for hire and sort of the pomp and ridiculousness of being in the military and being a soldier, and specifically the hats that they wear are so silly, but also to show these soldiers in particular that they're struggling and they're not really doing a good job.
The story was made in a Fellini-esque style to create a dreamlike spectacle. The palette moved from black and white, duotone, tritone to full color. I intended to draw on some of Fellini's varied characters over his career with a sense of whimsical absurdity and yet make them believable, trying to stay true to the director's dreamlike vision of the production.
Freya is about a struggling woman trying to regain control of her body in a future where the social media and the state, they operate as one. There are a lot of opposing elements. They are in contrast in the story. We figured that using geometric patterns, it would describe exactly what that future would look like.
Plush is about the imagination and the power of imagination and how it can stay with you forever. The story motivated me when deciding on the costumes for this. The story of this woman who wants to hold on to all the good pieces of her life, who wants to hold on to her best friends.
The fierce nominees for costume design and short film are Sarouche Matur and Odessa Bennett and team for Hikademia, Sandra Soke and team for The Rabbit Hunters, Deanna Sorrentino for Plush, Julianne Wilding for Mortal Decree, and Karina Barros and Vladimir Markoviv and team for Freya. And the winner is Sandra Soke and team for The Rabbit Hunters.
I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to thank the members of CAFTCAD for granting me this award. It truly is an honor. I would also like to share the award with my team, Hillary and Tess, and thank them for their talent, commitment, and good laughs. A big thank you to the producer, Juliet, for the opportunity, and to the directors for dreaming up such a fantastic script and allowing me to collaborate with them. To the whole cast and crew, it was a pleasure to work with you.
We accept that outside of our community, the work of the craftsperson in film and TV is almost invisible. In the categories of textiles and building, it's intentionally invisible as part of the illusion of reality. Tonight, we make the invisible visible and celebrate it. Textile artists can make a garment speak. Sometimes it's a shout. Sometimes, if you lean close and listen, it's the most exquisite whisper. Textile art is kind of a romance. Remember that character's hat you built from scratch with that fabric you unearthed at a flea market? You visualized how the character would tug on it when he was uncomfortable, and you aged it tenderly to show that nervous tick. Do you really care if it has a screen life of 5 seconds? No. Like the Velveteen Rabbit, you brought that hat to life.
And the nominees for Excellence in Crafts, Textiles are Anna Pancheva and team for What We Do in the Shadows. The dye department of Anthea Mallinson, Emily Kathleen McIntyre, Abra Ko, Lane Eustace Beck, and team for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Sarah Blostein and team for The Boys. Bonnie McCabe and team for Star Trek Discovery. Sage Lovett and team for Altered Carbon. Sage Lovett and team for Snowpiercer. And the winner is the dye department of Anthea Mallinson, Emily Kathleen McIntyre, Ara Ko, Lane Eustace Beck, and team for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Season 2.
Thank you, CAFTCAD. The 5 of us are excited and proud to be recipients of this award. Congratulations to our fellow nominees. Thank you to everyone who helped us and to Robert at the Dye Department. A very special thanks to our designer, Angus Strafey, for believing that we could solve almost anything.
Thank you, Angus, for your trust and creative vision. Thank you, Kelly, for being the best cheerleader. Thank you, Jenny, Don, Victor, and all of the talented cutters and stitchers. And thank you, CAFTCAD.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Odd Squad Mobile Unit is a kids live-action comedy that is about secret agents that fight villains using math. The agents' uniforms are a bomber jacket and pants that are very crisp and clean looking. Those uniforms are poly-cotton blend. We went through many variations of this fabric till we found finally the right one that doesn't wrinkle, always stays clean and crisp, and doesn't need a lot of maintenance.
Snowpiercer is a sci-fi action thriller when it's set on a train and there is lots of survival of the Earth's freezing. What was my inspiration? Mostly lots of different casts of the train, and we have to show how it looks for a high-end class to the end of the train, and include when there's lots of worker and the police.
The Expanse is obviously a sci-fi action drama that has been taking place on Earth, Mars, and in between. It is 200 years in the future. The overall look, that Expanse reflects a view of a world in 200 years in future. The tone and palettes are very specific to each part of the universe, because we know that the universe has been colonized by different corporations and groups. So every colony and every part of the universe has different color palettes. So it's a very big variation between one place to the other, from Earth to Mars and anywhere in between.
I work on Star Trek Discovery and science fiction thriller television series. It's about future. We build so many costumes. The look always different. People think Star Trek it's about uniforms. It's yes and it's not. People who watch Star Trek knows. We built at least 50, 70 costumes for episode. It's huge work.
Altered Carbon is a sci-fi action thriller when it's set up in a future and it's human can transfer their own mind to one body to the other one. There's lots of different costumes I had to make, lots of different fabric, many different fabric from metal, chain dress when we have to make by hand sewing to the heavy leather corset or the muslin or light silk to the wool that is nice fancy suit, real suit from wool.
The nominees for Excellence in Crafts Building are Ahmed Zargaran and team for The Expanse, Laszlo Marton and team for Snowpiercer, Laszlo Marton and team for Altered Carbon, Alicia Zitovic, Sandra Mandich, and Ashley Januso and team for Odd Squad Mobile Unit, and Tanya Batineau-Chuiko and team for Star Trek Discovery. And the winner is Tanya Batineau-Chuiko and team for Star Trek Discovery 301, That Hope Is You, Part 1.
Friends, I'm honored to be selected for this award from CAFTCAD. Thank you to our costume designer, Gusha Phillips, who made the designs and the opportunity to be part of this project. And this wouldn't be possible without the collective work of our sewing room, where amazing people work long hours to create a feast for the eyes. I thank the Star Trek building team for their wisdom and their patience. Live long and prosper.
Our CAFTCAD sponsors are a special group. Extraordinary, in fact, because not only do they understand the importance of celebrating costume, but after the year we've all had, in the face of economic struggle, they came through. They understand the idea of community and the need to support it.
In the book of Genesis, it took 7 days to create the world. Oh, the good old biblical days. In commercials and music videos, you have to move way faster. The truth is that it really doesn't matter if the piece is 30 seconds or 5 minutes. In this distracted world of ours, it's the first 5 seconds that count. That's how long you've got to unleash the power of video. How do you do that? Well, here's a sneaky little science tidbit that will let you weaponize your styling. The speed of light is 186,282 miles per second, but sound crawls along at only 343 meters per second. That means before Stephen utters a word, you've already seen him and registered his costume. That's right, you stylists and costume designers, you own the first crucial seconds. Stop doing that.
Sorry, what a minute?
Stop it.
You rolling?
And here are the names of the nominees who have conquered the territory of styling, costume design, and music videos and commercials. Sponsored by William F. White International. Charlene Akamoa and team for Coffee, Pressure. Charlene Akamoa and team for Solid, Savannah Ray. Nicole McCormick and team for Heritage Minute. Elsie McGill. Jess Murray and team for Do Better. Katri Sirtik and team for Coca-Cola Open. And the winner is Nicole McCormick and team for Heritage Minutes, Elsie McGill.
Hi, thank you. It's such an honor to be accepting this award. I'd like to thank Historica Canada and Point Blank Productions for the opportunity to work on such an important piece of film. I'd also like to thank my incredible crew for knocking it out of the park with their hard work. And I'd like to thank my friends and family for supporting me along the way. Thanks so much. Marty says thank you too.
Okay, Stephen, come on out. This award will be perfect for you.
All I can say is, it's about time there's a category like this, because it takes a superheroic costumer to make a superhero costume. Sure, it would be easy to start quoting from Edna Mode here. No capes! But she had a point. Everyday characters run a pretty low risk of being sucked into a vortex, dragged into a rocket ship, or sucked into a jet turbine. Hero work is dangerous. Special effects costuming reflects this. A character storyline might call for building a sculpted muscle suit to a 3D printed spacesuit, an elaborate supersuit to a welded suit of armor. Creating, nay, engineering costumes out of non-traditional materials is what sets special effects costuming apart from typical garment making.
And the nominees for Excellence in Crafts, Special Effects Costume Building are Milena Radeva and team for the Umbrella Academy, Robin Careless and team for American Gods, Bonnie Burns and team for Odd Squad Mobile Unit, Robin Careless and team for The Boys, and Ray Wong and team for Star Trek Discovery. And the winner is a tie between Bonnie Burns and team for Odd Squad Mobile Unit Season 1, and Ray Wong and team for Star Trek Discovery 303, People of Earth.
I am just tickled pink to win this award. It is a huge honor. I want to thank the CAFTCAD committee and jury for choosing my build. I'd also like to give a big shout out to the Odd Squad team. They're a great group of builders. This was a super fun and exciting build to do, and I hope many more like this are in my future. Thank you so much. I'm super honored.
Wow, I'm not good with compliments myself, but on behalf of the Discovery team, thank you CAFTCAD for recognizing our work. There's a ton of new material and technique exploration, and we were lucky enough to do this all in-house. Thank you, Gersha, for entrusting and enabling us, and all the other teams for their support, especially Breakdown for their pretty chrome work. We are very honored to be considered among the other nominees. Here's to Canada getting recognized for our great costume making.
It's a biopic, and it's based on a true story set in the 50s and 60s, and two African-American businessmen hire a Caucasian man to be the puppet head figure of their business empire, because in those days they could not be. I started looking at Gordon Parks' photography, and he did a really striking series on racial segregation. And the research was fascinating, but really created this sadness that I felt. And the production designer and I, we used these photographs as a starting point for where we were going.
OCD, as we like to call it, is a contemporary dramatization with politics, romance, and comedy, showcasing actual humanitarian events that go on every year in Guam and Micronesia. The OCD costumes really represent a yin-yang of competing and complementary forces. From business to military to civilian casual to tribal, these costumes display societies that are often expected to be rivals, but turn out to be allies for this one humanitarian purpose.
7 years after a monster apocalypse, our hero, after reconnecting with a high school sweetheart, decides to leave his bunker and traverse 80 miles to see her again, despite all the dangerous monsters out in the world. We had the two tribes. So the first tribe, the urban tribe, was deep primaries with an overaging of grime, with some highlights of strong color. And then with the beach tribe, their color palette was very sun-stripped, sun-bleached color palette and textures. And the director, Michael Matthews, was all about texture.
The film is about Shakur, played by Ashton Saunders, and it's about the struggles he faces trying to keep his dream of being a rapper alive amidst a gang war in Oakland. I was designing not only for the anger was there, but I wanted to help the actor be able to show the pain and the vulnerability. And what I found was interesting is how in the fittings, Ashton played with the clothes. You know, pull the sleeves over his hands, pull the hoodie over his head, and withdrew into the clothes.
And the nominees for Costume Design in Film International are Antoinette Massam and team for All Day and a Night, Aisha Lee and team for The Banker, Glenn Campbell and team for Operation Christmas Drop, Louis Siquiera and team for Love and Monsters. And the winner is Aisha Lee and team for The Banker.
Congratulations to all the nominees tonight. A big, huge thank you to George Nolfi, our writer-director, Jill Vertel, producer, Jennifer Lee Scott, ACD, and the rest of my team in LA and Atlanta for all your love and support creating the visual worlds of this remarkable story. I could not have done this without you. So this goes out to all of you who worked tirelessly to make the banker a reality, and to the CAFTCAD organizers and volunteers, and to Apple TV for your support. Thank you and good night.
This section has been renamed twice. First, we called it the low budget category, and now it's the Indie Feature Award. But maybe we should call it for what it really is.
You got a budget under 20K? Welcome to the Sally Ann You're Doing Something Good for the Environment Award.
Remember when the idea of getting rid of old clothes was a painful chore? Then 2020 happened, and for a year, the world was stuck at home, Mary Kondoing their closets to within an inch of their lingerie drawers, and a bumper crop of fresh clothes appeared in vintage and thrift shops. And no one appreciates that more than a costume designer on an under 20K wardrobe budget film. Ding!
The valiant nominees in this noble category of costume design and indie feature film, sponsored by Wiseacre Rentals, Inc., are Kristen Sombarak and team for The Cuban, John Dunnett and team for Jump Darling, Mara Ziegler and team for Sugar Daddy, Crystal Silden and team for Tammy's Always Dying, Sandra Soke and team for Hunter x Hunter. And the winner is John Dunnett and team for Jump Darling.
Thank you to everyone at CAFTCAD and the Canadian costume community for this recognition. I'd like to thank my team, Hannah, Jessica, Megan, and Sam. Thank you to Phil and Katie for this opportunity. A special thank you to all the Toronto local drag queens who contributed their own art and creativity. And a big thank you to my family back home in Moncton, New Brunswick, who allowed for me to incorporate some really special pieces into the costumes of this film. This award is dedicated to my Nana. Thank you again so much.
The Novus Industry Icon Award is presented to a costume designer or costume creator or a contributor who has distinguished themselves over the breadth of their career and their contributions to Canadian costume design and arts for film, television, and digital media. This year's winner is Glenn Campbell.
Greetings from the west coast of Canada. A big warm thank you to CAFTCAD and respected costume colleagues for the 2021 Novus Industry Icon Award. It is an honor to accept this on behalf of all of the costumers I have worked with. If I were asked for tips on surviving the industry, I would say exercise your talent, fairness, objectivity, and of course, humor. And continue your studies and get your rest. I would especially like to thank my son Chance for trusting my wanderlust creative ways. He recognized at the ripe old age of 2 the magic of costuming. When Dennis Weaver walked into the fitting room and Buffalo Bill walked out. I'll sign off with the motto of the century so far: stay safe and be kind. Again, thank you so much to everyone.
Hello, I'm Iris Simpson, CAFTCAD member since 2009, and I am the headmistress of the awards jury. In May of 2020, the Canadian costume community lost an icon, Denise Cronenberg. Over the course of 37 films, including all her brother's movies from The Fly onward, as well as Dawn of the Dead and The Incredible Hulk, Denise developed a reputation for being a performer's greatest on-set ally. In 1983, Denise was a wardrobe trainee on Videodrome. On that same film was an assistant named Kathy Vieira, who passed away last August. Talented, generous, and dynamic, Kathy was an IATSE 873 member, as well as a founding member of CAFTCAD, and she was deeply involved in facilitating many of our inaugural events. Last year, we also lost Nu Quan, who was nominated for a 2020 CAFTCAD Award for Building for her work on the Series C. She was a first-hand stitcher and a member of IATSE 891. She had a wonderfully skilled set of hands, accompanied by a beautifully gentle and generous soul. We remember Kelly Davis, who was a top commercial stylist in Vancouver before moving over to film and television. Her love of fashion and her innate style made her one of the best buyers that ever worked in the industry. We note the passing of Patty Hunter, who was trained as a clothing designer in Montreal and had her own label by age 27. Patty worked every position in the costume department, and no matter how hard the day, she always made everyone laugh. She had an incredible rapport with actors, and they all loved her, and she knew every crew member by name. And most recently, we lost Martino Con Wen, whose quick alterations and perfect knockoff builds saved many a costumer at the last minute. Martino was much loved in the costume community for his kindness and positive energy. Our community is stronger for everything each of these people contributed, and it will be impossible to forget those who gave so much to remember.
The craft is about 4 girls in high school who come together and become a coven and try to take down the patriarchy together. Their costumes and a lot of the production design and their props were designed around the element that they represented within the coven. So air, earth, water, and fire was each girl. So that came down to the palette, the texture, and prints that they all wore.
We were set in a middle class, working class, Midwest 2000s world, and we tried to reflect that very much in the story. And as the years tick by, our leads change socioeconomically a bit, and we definitely worked on reflecting that with our fabric and color choices as well. My favorite aspect of this film was the opportunity to reflect real family photos and to recreate that family photo along with the wedding looks and along with other looks to really honor the culture this family had, and to get it on screen was a really fun new challenge for me.
Fat Man is an action comedy fantasy film about an unorthodox Santa Claus struggling with the decline of his business, a precocious child, and the hitman he hired to take care of the Fat Man. The directors really loved the idea of being a little gritty, a little bit steampunk, mechanic kind of look. We really wanted Chris to be the salt of the earth, the hitman to be really sleek, and Billy to be sort of a Richie Rich, precocious child.
This film's an American horror comedy anthology. It's really 5 separate stories in one. So each separate story is its own world and its own palette, for example. And really, it just has to do with the variety of costumes we were creating. It was just one thing after another that was really fun and inventive. My team really pulled off a great range of designs that I think were fun and a little over the top because we were trying to make you laugh as well as scare you.
Love Guaranteed is a contemporary romantic comedy where a charming client, Nick, hires an earnest lawyer, Susan, to sue a dating website who guarantees love. We had a really diverse cast, and to try and keep each of them separate and interesting throughout the movie is always our greatest challenge and our greatest joy when it comes together.
The nominees for Costume Design in Film Contemporary, sponsored by IATSE 891 are Heather Neal and team for Tales from the Hood 3, Avery Plews and team for The Craft Legacy, Valerie Halverson and team for Love Guaranteed, Odessa Bennett and team for Poisoned Love, Jennifer Stroud and team for Fat Man. And the winner is Avery Plews and team for The Craft Legacy.
Thank you, CAFTCAD, for this amazing honor. First, I want to thank Laura Gardner, my assistant costume designer, Chelsea Graham, our costume supervisor, our Toronto team, our LA team, Zoe Lister-Jones, who's now a lifelong collaborator, our writer, director, producer, as well as Natalia Anderson, Bea Sequeira, Hilary Gertler, Hilary Spera, Brandy Boulay, our coven, Kaylee, Gideon, Zoe, Lovey, Fruza Balk, and of course, I want to dedicate this to the memory of Martino.
Back at the turn of the century, lead characters tended to be good or evil. Now, our protagonists are so fabulously flawed that it's often difficult to figure out if they're good people forced to do bad things or bad people with a weirdly moral streak. For designers, the costumes have to show these characters as they wish to appear and have to hide what they don't want people to know. It gets even more complicated as the audience begins to glimpse what lies beneath. The clothing they see on the surface also changes meaning, and a designer has to calculate for that transformation on a minute-by-minute basis.
And in this challenging category of costume design in TV contemporary, sponsored by IATSE 873, the nominees are Christine Toy and team for Odd Squad Mobile Unit, Farnaz Kayaki Sadiq and team for Upload, Rebecca Sorensen Kelstrup and team for Riverdale, Ann Dixon and team for The Comey Rule, Adriana Fulop and team for Trickster. And the winner is Adriana Fulop and team for Trickster, episode 104.
Thank you, CAFTCAD, for this incredible recognition. We all know that a successful story takes a village to accomplish, so I'd like to thank my crew, Alicia Robinson, Emma Lees, Natalie Ellis, Vanessa Young, Katrina Carrier, Gwendolyn Preboy, Stephanie Smethurst, and Faith Campbell. I would also love to thank the incredible writer and director, Michelle Latimer, for believing in me and letting me bring this beautiful Indigenous story to life.
Don't cry for me in my corset. My ribs have not fused together. I eat a full lunch. I can breathe just fine. A pad with panniers. That shrinks my waistline.
When it comes to designing period costumes in both film and television, yes, of course we strive for authenticity in costume. And naturally, actors strive for authenticity in performance. Sometimes those two things intersect, and sometimes not so much. Okay. All right.
For the category of Costume Design in Film, period, sponsored by IATSE 891, the nominees are Carol Case and team for Let Him Go, Julia Patkos and team for The Clark Sisters, the First Ladies of Gospel, Julia Patkos and team for Stardust, Michelle Light and team for Salt and Pepper, Eric Poirier and team for Beans. And the winner is Michelle Light and team for Salt and Pepper.
Thank you for this award. It's nice to be recognized by your fellow peers for your craft. To my costume team, that's right, we did that. Thank you all for your hard work. Salt and Pepper, thank you for sharing your epic story with us. To the cast and crew, Steve Solomos, Bob Title, Sonia, Lifetime, I appreciate the opportunity. To my agent, Anthony, thank you. Dreams do come true when you do believe. Thank you.
And for the category of Costume Design in TV, period, sponsored by IATSE 873, the nominees are Joanna Siriconla and team for Murdoch Mysteries, Jennifer Haffenden and team for Fortunate Son, Lindsay Reeder and team for Age of Samurai, Battle for Japan, Nicole Manick and team for New Eden, Judith Ann Clancy and team for The Hardy Boys. And the winner is a tie between Joanna Siriconla and team for Murdoch Mysteries, 1312, Fox Hunt, and Lindsay Reeder and team for Age of Samurai, Battle for Japan, 104, Enter the One-Eyed Dragon.
Congratulations to my fellow nominees and winners. As we can't celebrate together, I'm here with my Judy friends who dressed up just for the occasion. I'm grateful to the amazing talent and work of my team for this episode. Charlene Senyuk, Nathan Laws, Erica Fulop, Mary Furlong, Sam Crossley, Jenny Buck, Maria Popoff, Paul Breckenridge, and with dailies Rachel Ford, Leslie McCann, and Star Jacobs. Thank you to Shaftesbury and the entire Murdoch team for letting me do my favorite thing in the world and dress these wonderfully diverse characters.
Thank you, CAFTCAD and Awards Committee. Thank you, jury and members who voted. Thank you, Cream, for giving me the opportunity to design costumes for Age of Samurai. Thank you to my costume team. Assistant costume designer Tina, set super Eob, on-set dresser Laura, sewer Richard, specialty costume builders Adam and Erica, daily Katie Beadham, and costume AD Bella. Thank you also to Michael at Iron Mountain Armory and to Carrie at Ohio Kimono. This award really belongs to all of us.
When you take the superheroes and the creatures away from sci-fi, what are you left with, Amanda?
Oh, I don't know.
Regular humans who still have to get dressed every morning. Well, we have no idea what tomorrow might bring into our lives. We can rest assured that dressing in the future will at least be fascinating. The designs in this category are all anchored in a functional reality, yet they have a component of fantasy that you will never see on the rack at Zara.
In these new worlds, designs can swing to the extremes. Balls out monochromatics that are pared right back to the bone and then punched up with single statement color and unexpected texture. Or Met Gala-worthy all day, every day. The hybrid influences are fantastic. Maximalistic futurism.
Post-apocalyptic minimalism.
Regency romanticism meets cyberpunk. And, take note, in the future, if looks could kill, they probably have.
The nominees for costume design in film sci-fi fantasy, sponsored by IATSE 891, are Valerie Halverson and team for Alien Stole My Body, Trisha Baker and team for Zombies 2, Alyn Gilmore and team for Possessor Uncut. And the winner is Trisha Baker and team for Zombies 2.
Thank you, CAFTCAD, for this amazing award. I never knew musicals could be so much fun to work on. I'd also like to thank Disney, the producers, and the cast that were so wonderful to work with. My awesome crew. Wait for it. Take one. Donna, Barb, Teresa, Alyn, Maria, Melissa, Anna, Ella, Lindsay, Mary, Jennifer, Janice, Sulin, Karen, Yvette, Michelle, Judy, Soso, Jaya, Sarah, Momo, Genevieve, Erin. I share this award with you all. Thank you.
And the nominees in costume design in TV sci-fi fantasy, sponsored by IATSE 873, are Cynthia Summers and team for Altered Carbon, Cynthia Summers and team for Snowpiercer, Joanne Hansen and team for The Expanse, Gersha Phillips and team for Star Trek Discovery, Christine Toy and team for Odd Squad Mobile Unit. And the winner is Gersha Phillips and team for Star Trek Discovery 301, That Hope Is You, Part 1.
Wow, hello everyone. Thank you, CAFTCAD membership, for this award. I'd like to start by thanking my amazing crew, starting with my ACDs, Carly, Dinah, and Michael, supervisors, Karen and Kim,
as well as our other department heads, Tanya, Bonnie, Ray, Andrew, Heather, and Kim Keaton. We'd also like to thank CBS, Secret Hideout, our showrunners, and the writers.
And we'd also like to thank our amazing cast, starting with the wonderful Sneakwa, Martin Green, and everyone else. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Imagine standing at a great buffet of creativity. So many different flavors, the fusions of so many tastes. That is what it's like to be on a CAFTCAD jury. We want to thank all of our jurors who have opened their minds to all the possibilities, who have tapped into their keen sense of detail, and who have taken on the responsibility of making informed decisions.
This brings us to the close of the third CAFTCAD Awards. It is with enormous pride that we can say that while we had to rethink everything in order to present this digital version of the awards, it pales in comparison to the ingenuity, the adaptability, and the unbridled determination of every single costumer in Canada to keep going and keep producing such beautiful work.
To all our nominees, to our winners, and to our entire costume community, congratulations on another brilliant year. Be strong, stay healthy, and see you next year. Can I have a whiskey?
Yeah, let's do this.
Just give me a drink.
Have a
Two of them.
Bar's now open.
Woo!